thank you. Hope everybody's doing well today. We are going to be going through kind of a ECDA pre-assessment and survey setup. This is to help you get survey ready. So some of the things we're going to cover is ECDA.
Looks like Lon dropped off for a second. Wouldn't be virtual brew without some technical difficulties.
Is ECDA, survey considerations, survey equipment preparation. We'll look at things like reference cells, accessories, DVM calibration, ECDA survey options, and waveform verification. So as far as ECDA goes, ECDA is it's a four-step process. It's really to help you know what your pipeline system is doing, your CP system. This is for safety along with your corrosion. You have pre-assessment, which is what we are going to talk about today. You have indirect inspection, so that's your actual survey. You have your direct examinations, and then you have your post-assessment. So what we're going to dig into or try and hit on today is this pre-assessment. So some of the pre-survey considerations that you'll want to keep an eye on are some of your pipeline data, the coding. What type of coding is it? Is this old? Is this new? Is this coal tar? Is it FBE? What's the size of the line? What's the age of it? Some of the right-of-way considerations. What's your soil resistivity? These are good to know, along with depth of cover. Soil resistivity can affect your surveys. Higher soil resistivity, less current. Lower soil resistivity, it's easier for current to flow. And your depth of cover. This affects both CI, DCVG as well. As far as the depth of cover, you may have to up your rectifiers a little bit to get a good shift if your pipeline is very deep. What type of CP system do you have? Are these all galvanics? If you have galvanic anodes, or is this an impressed current system? What are your rectifiers? Where are they? How many do you have? And what are their ground beds? What type? Where are they located? If you know your operational data, history, construction history on this line, if I have a new section of line in here, it's an old pipe, you could be looking at coal tar, and then the new section is FBE. You're going to see that in your survey. You'll see the readings change in that. Historical records are always nice to know. If you've had a survey done, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, whenever, what was it like? What am I looking at? Are there certain areas that I need to pay attention to? So having those historical records is really nice to have. So as far as PCS field data collector, these are some of the things we need to know to get that set up. How are you going to run your survey? Flagged or fixed increment? So you have flag mode, you have fixed increment. If you're doing fixed increment, what's the increment? It has to be in increments of 2.5. Now, PHMSA calls out, no more than 5 foot. So it's going to have to be 2.5 or 5 foot. What type of survey are you running? Is this going to be just an on survey? Am I doing a native? Is this a new line? I'm doing a native. Or have I depoled this line to get a native? So maybe I need to do a 100 millivolt shift. I have that reference. Or is this going to be an interrupted survey? And we'll talk about interruption here in a little while. Am I running an AC or a DC survey? You can do either one in Field Data Collector. Once you start one, you can't switch over. So if I start a DC, I can't switch over to AC. I will have to start a new survey to do AC for my CI. Submeter GPS. Do I need submeter GPS on this? Sometimes companies request that. We have the the geode for our submeter that goes along with our field data collector. And what kind of notes are you going to collect? This is customizable in FDC. So you can, customize your notes, have anything that you're going to put there quite a bit up at the top. We're always putting in depth of cover for one example. Do you have the right equipment? Is that equipment in good working order? So is your DVM calibrated? Is your field computer charged? Is your DVM charged? The 2130 is a standalone, so you'll need to make sure that it is charged through the USB-C. Your wiring and cabling. This is really important. Do you have all of your wires and cables? Have you checked them out before you've gone out to the field? Do you have good continuity on them? These are probably the things that will fail more often because they're hanging off of equipment and they're getting knocked around as you're moving down the line. Do you have enough survey wire? Do you have spares of things like cables? Things like that. Do you have the latest software version of Field Data Collector? It's also important. We make sure we have a decent cadence on getting updates. These are enhancements and any type of bug fixes. So make sure that is up to date. Reference cells. Is your reference cell cleaned? This is very, very important. Do you have a nice shiny copper cable or copper rod on your reference cell? Make sure that's clean. Do you have the equipment to clean it? Make sure you have the non-metallic sandpaper to clean that copper off. You don't want to contaminate it. Do you have spare O-rings? Things like this. Do you have the proper solution? The crystals, distilled water. So when you charge this, or when you clean it and you recharge it, do you have still crystals at the bottom of that when you shake it, which means it's saturated? It's kind of like if you put sugar in your tea and you stir it and it gets saturated, you still have some sugar crystals at the bottom. It's the same concept. You want to make sure that reference cell is saturated copper sulfate. This is an example that I did for looking at a freshly cleaned reference cell, and then one that had been sitting around for quite some time. It wasn't dry, but it was kind of the solution was kind of milky. And you see, I got at least a 35 millivolt difference just in those, and that can be significant. So that is, that is so important to get your correct readings for your surveys. Is make sure that is clean, so you're getting a good reference, solid reference. I talked a little bit about the cabling and the stress that it has on it. If you have the Mesa 3 or the holder for the Mesa 3 or the holder for the iPad, you will have a little strain relief on there. Use it. That's put on there so that you can run your cables through, and as you walk around, and if it snags on anything, it's not going to rip out from the DVM. It's just going to tug on that strain relief. So that's also important to keep your equipment in good working order. Calibration. So we'll talk a little bit here about calibration. We do calibration in-house, so that you're aware of that. We have a system that we run these through. So if you ever need to have this calibrated, you can set this up via a link here. We'll get you this presentation with the link. You can always look at the About screen, and it will show you when it was last calibrated. So that's always a good to know. And when we do a calibration, we do an actual calibration. So when we do calibration, we run it through a whole array of voltages. And if there's anything that's out of our spec, it will get adjusted back in. So it's not just a verification, it is a true calibration. So be aware of that. You can have people that send those off to a calibration lab. They can do a verification, but they cannot actually calibrate it. Interruption. So again, let's talk about some of our interruption. So what on-off cycles are you going to be running? Your cycle begins with on or off. What type of relay are we using? Mercury or solid state? Is it normally open and normally closed? These are all settings within your interrupters, whether it's a bullhorn unit or a Micromax unit, or God forbid, some other company's interrupter. Those settings are the same. So you need to make sure that they're set to what relay you have. It's rare now to find a normally open relay. Of course, a Mercury relay is going to be normally closed. It's mechanical. And all of our solid state relays are set to normally closed. Are you sharing a corridor with another pipeline? And are you bonded to it? If so, you need to verify and make sure that y'all are running on the same cycle. Is there any AC mitigation out there? That wreaks havoc on interrupted surveys. So I want to do a quick poll here. See if I can get this. And I want to see what cycle do you start with your company? Is it on or off? That's about what I'm expecting as I talk with folks out in the field. That's usually, I'm seeing more and more it's starting in the off. So it's good to know. Thank you. So when you are going to go out there and do an interrupted survey, the very first thing you want to do is you want to go to your DVM and you want to verify that you are synced with your interrupter. So you're going to see a line that's on and off, and you're going to see some dotted lines where it crosses that on and off. So this is our pipe to soil. That line is on. It goes off for a second. It's on for 3 seconds. So we're doing a 3 on, 1 off. I want to make sure, especially where that off delay crosses that pipe to soil reading, I'm getting my true polarized potential, my true instant off. That's the one you'll probably adjust the most. So you want to get this going before you start any survey. If you're doing interruption, you want to verify that I am in sync and I don't have any other issues out there. Your cycle begins with is the little shark fin. In this case, cycle begins with on because it's in the on portion of the cycle. So we have 3 seconds on. It's starting in the on. Now, This is one of the most common things we'll see out there is it's out of sync. So my on and offs are reversed. Most likely, if it's steady like this, it's out of sync by 1 second, and it's staying that. It's not walking through. I can see that my interrupter is 1, 2, 3 on and 1 off. It's just not lining up with me. Most likely, it's going to be that cycle begins with. So we will set that cycle to begin with, in this case, on. And now it looks like it's matching our interrupter. Now you can see a whole range of issues out there. Any type of AC mitigation, again, I said this before, it wreaks havoc on interrupted survey. You get this capacitive discharge and recharge. Now for this particular case, it's really up to you what you're going to do with that. There is Dairyland now has a PCRX that takes care of this. It clears this up. You get a good square wave with the PCRX now. It's a really nice PCR that they put out there. And then things can make it even worse. Zinc ribbon, AC mitigation, you can have zinc ribbon out there. It just makes this worse. Run into this quite a bit if you are, again, bonded to somebody else and they are running a survey. And in this case, it looks like in your survey, you're running cycle begins with off, and they are running cycle begins with on. So everything is shifted by a second for theirs, and it's affecting yours because you are bonded. So you want to make sure you get with your other companies that you're sharing that right away with, and make sure you're all on the same page. That gets real important. Things like this, DC transit system, well, again, it causes all sorts of problems with your interrupted survey because there's all sorts of stray current running on there. So there's a whole project there trying to figure out, well, where is that? Where am I picking up that current? So the two different modes that you have to decide what you're going to do before you start your survey is, am I going to do fixed increment mode? So fixed increment is using the wire as it's coming out of the hip pack or backpack, and it's measuring a distance. So in this case, I'm saying every 2.5 feet, or I can do it every 5 feet. It's going to trigger a read at every 2.5 or 5 feet. So something to be aware of when you're doing that is, if I have, in this case, I've got 1,000 foot of pipe. I have 2 sections. I have a bend in this pipe. It could be just going lateral or it could be going up. If I have that bend in that pipe and I'm walking along doing my survey and I get to the end of it, I should have 1,000 feet on my survey. But if I don't anchor that down where that bend is, that survey wire is going to come up with me and I'm going to lose footage. So in this case, we're over 70 foot short on 1,000 foot. The other one that you can use is flag mode. Now, flag mode, you're going to set a distance of your flags, and you're going to go out there and either way before you do your survey in preparation for it, or as you go along, you'll have somebody out in front of you measuring and marking every 100 feet. You can put a flag down there. You can put just a paint stripe in the ground. And then as you survey, every time you come up to that flag or that mark, you're going to enter a flag in your survey. What it's going to do is it's going to look at how many reads you have in that 100 feet. So in this case, if I have 20 reads in 100 feet, it's going to rubber band that to 5 foot increments. If I have 40 reads in that 100 feet, it's going to rubber band it to 2 foot increments. So every 100 feet, it's going to reset it to that next 100 feet. So it's going to be pretty accurate on your distance. Okay, we offer all sorts of training options for you. We offer in-house training at our facility. We can come to your facility. We can also do some virtual trainings over Teams and such. So please hit us up if you'd like to see more in-depth training on not just field data collector, but bullhorn, PCS, survey manager, all of those we do pretty extensive trainings on. For contact, make sure you have this number, this 800-229-3404. This you can get to support. It's option 1 to get to support. You can also contact support at their email, support@aiworldwide.com. And then we have a website for support as well. Has a lot of documentation, user guides for all of our products in there. That's just support.aiworldwide.com. We have training videos that we have online that we are constantly looking at, updating. And if you have any feedback, we have, if you go to our ideas portal, you can enter in some suggestion or a comment. So that's all I have for today's virtual brew. I want to thank you all for sitting in on this. I hope you got something out of it. We will package this up and we can get this sent out to you as far as the presentation goes.